Hi, I'm Chef Clifford Plow, and I'm here to talk with you about romaine, specifically about Kalera romaine and the time motion study and the benefits of the product itself. I want to give you a chef's point of view and what I would do in a restaurant and probably what I've done my whole life. Let's get right into it. First thing I want to do is take a look at the case, how it would come to you at the back door. It's a nice clean case. You'll note there's not a lot of dirt here. If I was receiving this as a chef, I would not let them put it on a counter on the floor. It would always go on a dunnage rack with a paper on it, but it's really nice to have a clean box all the time. And uniquely enough, the same size. So once you fit your walk-in with clean shelves, really receive it, put it away, locked and loaded. Doesn't need to be looked at until you're ready to prep. So next step, we're going to get into the prep, and as we see and we open it up, we can take kind of a close-up look at the quality of the product. I think there's a motivator there. If you're a chef and you open this up, you're already excited to work with the product. And I can just tell you from working with it for a while, it really doesn't change. It's amazing how long this is. I've never been one to say I want to keep lettuce around, but it lasts amazing. So in order to prep it, I would go ahead and take it out of the box. Now we're gonna time this to see how long it would take. I think if you were prepping this in any kitchen, you would be at this point setting up a sink that's clean. You'd be filling that sink with ice water. You'd be setting a cutting board, some way to cut it, whether it's with a punch or a knife, and then getting ready to chop the lettuce into that water. In this case, all we're going to do is take our plastic bag out. We've removed the root ball. We have product with root ball. We're testing without root ball, and we've done that in this case. The box itself is clean, can be folded and recycled or reused. Then I'm going to go ahead and set a timer so that we can work together on this and understand the prep time. So once I push the button, we're going to go. I won't talk too much, and we'll take it from there. I have Nicole working the Nicole cam. She might do some close-ups and show you what we're going to do. And let's just go ahead and get started on this 10-pound case. So the first thing I would do in the prep area was go ahead and peel this plastic back. You got a small little root thing. Now, if I was doing this at home, I wouldn't trim that off, but I'm going to take that. For this exercise, I'm going to cut it in half. 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 cuts, and then I would go through this whole case and just do the same thing. Cut off my little tips. I'm going to put these here because we're going to weigh them later. I cut it in half, and in this case, you can cut 3 heads at once, right? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 times or 7 times just to make it cut so it'd be perfect for, say a Caesar salad. And again, this would be being cut normally into a sink. So we cut that little end off like that. So it looks like about 6 cuts. That won't vary too much. The product is very consistent. Another huge benefit of the Kalera romaine is you're not wondering what the condition is going to be. There's no brown spots on the lettuce. There's no excessive yellow. In fact, quite the opposite. The nutrient value of these dark green leaves for the consumer is amazing. They're looking at it thinking, wow, that's super green, super good for me. Versus sometimes you get the romaine and it's got a lot of yellow in it. Normally I'd be using gloves here. I didn't want to use gloves today. It's a home exercise. I'm not feeding guests, so I'm not worried about that. Okay, we're cutting lengthwise. And again, I don't even think you need to cut lengthwise, but I think that's what you might do in your prep, so that's why I'm doing it for this specific exercise. There we go. And again, this would be going into a sink or a hotel pan. Love this product. So vibrant. I guess that's the best way. So vibrant, so crisp. Can't say I've ever done this before with a giant pile of lettuce here, but it sure looks good. Already planning tomorrow's lunch menu with a little bit of Caesar salad. I like to do a buttermilk dressing in Caesar. It's really super special. Working on a whole line of dressings that would match this lettuce. And it just keeps coming, doesn't it? So a little bit easier than, there's no thought. I'm not having to go through here and think, gee, should I take this leaf off? Should I take that leaf off? I'm just using everything that comes out of the box except these little ends right here. Again, that's really nice. And you know what's nice about the stem work here too, it's not, there's nothing bitter. You don't have to worry, should I cut 3 inches up or 4 inches up? It's the exact same every time, right down to the core, which is actually sweet itself. Okay, and then my last few heads here. All right, so there you go. That's about 5 minutes. So I think that's probably what you could expect. You'd line up your cases, take them out of the bags, line up the heads, and then begin the chopping process. So fabricating the case took 5 minutes for this volume amount here. This is a 10-pound volume. We're going to do one more case in a minute, and we'll take the measurements off that. But as you see, there was no guessing, wondering, no variance on, you know, how much should I take or shouldn't I take. No excessive amounts of yellow. Okay, and then what we want to do here, we're going to take our little trimmings, and we're going to just see the amount that we have left. And again, I think if you were at home, you could probably use this amount. But let's just say this is actual, it's reality, right? So we take our little scale here, and we're going to set it. This way you can do your time motion study properly. Okay, my battery decided to run out. Anyway, we've got about that much. Okay, so we've got about, it's less than a pound, which is a good thing. So let's call it a pound. I'll get my scale, I'll get my measurements when we do the summary. But that's it. That's what you're going to have as a yield from one 10-pound case. Now, here's the part that's really interesting. You're going to take, if you are in operations, and this is just how it would be, this would be in the sink. So here's where your time motion study continues. This part would then be in the sink, and we don't want to do that with Kalera product because it stays best if it doesn't touch water. It's already ready to go. So this would go into a sink, and then after it's in the sink of cold water, it would go into a drainer, and then it would go into a spinner, all of which should have been sanitized, and the spinner is one that gets, oftentimes neglected. It'd be spun, then put into containers, put in a container that has a kind of a rack in it so it can dry and drain a little bit, and then stored ready for service. In this case, I will use a plastic pan probably if I was in a restaurant setup. The Kalera lettuce product right back into the container itself. Either preset in the walk-in for service or right to the line, ready to go. And the beauty of that is that not only is it ready to go there, but you know, we call it pick to plate. So I got my plate and I'm ready to go right out of there into your salad, toss it, dressing or dressings on top, and you're ready to go. So 5 minutes and 20 seconds if you're ready to go. You got less than a pound of trim. That's the Romaine comparison. Enjoy.